I don't know how Wizards is going to get out of this one. I seriously believe they've kind of dug a hole that is going to damage their ability to be successful for the rest of the year. Because this is the deal. Strixhaven is packed full of cards that people want to build around, want for their commander decks, that kind of spark creativity in the most popular format for Magic, which is Commander. And they haven't done this in a long, long time. I mean, I don't even know if they've done this kind of in years. Like, I'm going to pull up my sheet that tracks the sets going back in time, and I'm seriously not sure if any of these sets remind me of kind of like what Strixhaven is doing, like Strixhaven. So let me share my screen. So here's my little sheet tracking. So, of course, Lorwyn, TMNT, Strixhaven, that's this year. Last year, Avatar had a couple cool commander cards, but it didn't have any mechanics. I mean, you think about Strixhaven and the mechanics, the paradigm, the prepared, that are just made for Commander. Just interesting in Commander, powerful in Commander. Obviously, they could be powerful and interesting in Standard or other formats too, but in Commander is really where it shines. Spider-Man, Edge of Eternities, Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy had quite a few cool cards too, but it didn't have mechanics. Tarkir Dragonstorm, Aether Drift. I mean, Dragonstorm had dragons, had these big bad dragons in it, but there isn't the excitement like there is to build around the Strixhaven dragons, in my opinion. Aether Drift, Innistrad Remastered, Foundations, Duskmourn, Bloomburrow, Assassin's Creed, Modern Horizons 3. Modern Horizons 3 was cool. It was powerful. It definitely added cards to the format. But you get the point. I mean, but I'll keep going. Outlaws of Thunder Junction, Fallout, Murders of Karlov Manor. None of these sets feel like they add as much to the Commander format, is as interesting as Strixhaven. And going back even further, like Lost Caverns of Ixalan, Wilds of Eldraine, even Commander Masters, which, like, hear me out. Commander Masters obviously reprinted all kinds of cards that are good and powerful and interesting in Commander, but it didn't make new cards. And there are so many. The dragons are just home run, obvious, like, want to build a commander around this. That's great. But then there's so many cards. And let's get into the cards, because I've got my desk and I've got some cards because my grubby little paws couldn't keep off, and I opened up a Strixhaven box, and what do you know? We got some cards, and it really just stands out to me. I got some to the side here. A card like this, a card like Slumbering Trudge, which is a 6/6 that you could pay for 1 mana, enters with stun counters on it. This is a shoo-in for commander decks that care about big things. Cards like Planar Engineering. Look at this. Sacrifice 2 lands, search your library for 4 lands. Landfall decks. Obviously would love this card, and there could be those in Standard and stuff too, but landfall decks and lands matter decks, lands and graveyards decks. This is an enabler that is powerful, and you can see that a little bit in the pre-order pricing. People are excited about this card, and these are just 2 rares from the set. The reprints, the Mystical Archives are powerful cards that go great in decks that are beautiful, fun, splashy. Let's take a look at some of this other stuff. It's a little showcase too of what I opened, and I'll reveal what the expected value of the cards inside were at the end. But I got Emeritus of Abundance once again with this prepared mechanic. I mean, being able to cast Regrowth every turn, if you control 8 or more lands, it's good. It's good. It's not the best. Like, people rank this one fairly low on the Emerituses, but it is definitely worth playing in certain graveyard decks. These cool, beautiful, creatures with spells attached to them is good. When your card gets to play as 2 cards, that is good. That is good. Destroy target non-basic land. That is good. Pox Plague. this is a commander card. Another commander card. Players lose half their life, discard half the cards in their hand, sacrifice half the permanents they control of their choice. For 5 black mana. Like, this is a commander card. Evil commander card, but a commander card. Smallpox. All kinds of interesting, like, mana sculpts. A budget mana drain. Counter target spell. If you have a wizard, add the mana value of that to your mana pool. Lots of cards to build around. There it is. I opened it up. The Emeritus of Ideation with Ancestral Recall in the corner. Very cool. Very lucky pull. But this is good. Creature attacks, exile 8 or more cards from your graveyard if you do get prepared again. 6 mana, draw 3 cards, get a 5/5 flying ward 2. That's pretty good. Flow State. Just one of these premier kind of 2 mana, get your hand to be what the cards you want in your hand to be, if that makes sense. There's these high-powered, interesting cards. Of course, removal, like a road, join researchers. This is interesting in Commander because at the beginning of each end step, which I guess Secret Rendezvous is a sorcery, but if an opponent has more cards in hand than you, this creature becomes prepared. And so in Commander, you can use this as like a bargaining tool or whatever. I don't think it's good enough to be played in most decks, but still interesting. Charms with versatility. There we go. We got Silver Quill, the Disputant, which I think is the worst of all the dragons, but still cool to open. Has instant sorcery spells have Casualty 1. As you cast that spell, you may sacrifice a creature with power 1 or greater if you do copy the spell, which I don't know, it's fine, but definitely not like a commander build around. I did open one that is more of a commander build around that I'll show in a minute. You know what? And I mean, of course I'd say this because I'm talking about how incredible this set is in Commander, the most popular format in Magic, but these boxes would go great for build a Commander deck. Like, if you and your friends want to have a really good time, each of you buy a play box of Secrets of Strixhaven, and then you get to open it together and build a Commander deck out of it and just play. A lot of fun. Although, in my experience, when everybody plays a box of the same set, it can go a little slow. Having a variety of sets makes it even more fun, but I don't know. There's Quandrix the Proof. I think this one is definitely a build around an exciting commander, giving all instant sorcery spells you cast from your hand cascade. Yeah. Yep. What can you say? There's a decent land cycle. Not the best, not the worst. Some cool land. This land that can like kind of take away the abilities of a different land. That is cool. Powerful. Definitely something valuable to have in Lands Matter or whatever commander decks. And then I got a foil full art, but it's a guy that nobody cares about, which is a little too bad. So anyways, that was the pull. That was the haul. All except, I guess I'll show off the tokens and stuff. I actually really like the tokens in this set. I feel like they have like really good art, which is, a very Magic player thing to say. Like, everybody who plays Magic is all of a sudden like professional art experts, right? And we're all like, oh, that art really like makes me feel something. And so here I am. I'm like, oh yeah, the art on these tokens really hits different. But seriously, I am going to switch out like the copy token in this set. I think is really nice. I'm going to switch that out in some of my commander decks. So, right. So what's the point? Well, I guess 2 things to talk about. First off is just capping off my point about Strixhaven is an incredible set. It's doing something that I guess more sets could do, which is building mechanics that are basically made for Commander but can be played in other formats. Maybe. Like, we'll see, right? We'll see if any Paradigm cards get played. I didn't open up any Paradigm cards, which was too bad. Yeah, so there's a lot going on with this set. I don't know if they can keep doing this. I guess why not? The only limit is the creativity of the designers that make the cards to create mechanics and sets and whole card types and abilities that are powerful and interesting and exciting in Commander. They get people excited to build decks, to play test these cards. I mean, the Emerituses get you excited to test it out, right? Like, is 6 mana 5/5 flyer with Ancestral Recall, draw 3 cards, is that good? I know it's 5 mana, but 1 mana to cast Ancestral Recall. Is that good? I'm excited to find out, right? I'm excited to play with it to find out. And so it's just interesting because there have not been a lot of sets that have done this. There's sets that come out with commanders where it's like, ooh, that's a really powerful, cool commander, but not sets that come out where there's entire cycles of cards where it's like, oh, these are going to change commander. and that's the thing too, is like, is this power creep? Is this, maybe not, maybe it is. I guess we'll find out as we playtest, but there's a level of excitement around Strixhaven that it feels a little unmatched to me. I just haven't seen this kind of excitement for specific cards and archetypes and the potential in previous sets, along with, and that's ignoring Mystical Archives, which is an incredible reprint group. It could be better, but it certainly could be worse. I think it's really nice. I think it's probably the best kind of like extra bonus sheet slot we've had in a long time. Hard to say for sure. But the second point I wanted to get to was about the cards, the value inside. So I opened up a box. I have a case over here. You can technically buy some boxes from my case, link in below for my personal website. Pretty cool. But I made the decision to open up a box for singles. I get to expand my website. I'm trying to raise my inventory, right? I want to list more cards. I want to sell more cards at market price. And to do that, I believe I need to have a larger inventory. Stay tuned. We'll see how that goes. It could just not work, but I think it will. All the evidence is there. So, I was like, okay, let me open up a box. And this box I opened up and I scanned it, my TCG Player app, which of course has pre-order pricing in it, which is a round up, right? But let me pull up the collection that I saved. Secrets of Strixhaven. Wow, and market price is already dropping. A couple hours ago, it was like $105 worth of singles. Brutal. Like, that's not good. Especially when the box sells for like $145 or whatever, right? And so I was going to open up more of these, but now I'm thinking, maybe not. And I know it's just one box and you get unlucky or whatever. But these are supposed to be the hyped up prices, right? These are supposed to be the kind of like over the moon. The expected value is super there. So you can't, these numbers will dazzle you. But then on release day, the numbers are going to drop. That's what I was expecting. And so to open up less than $105 market price of singles, I was like, dang. That is pretty rough. I didn't scan every card. I only looked at, I scanned every rare, and then I looked for uncommons that were priced high. And by high, I just mean like over 30, 40 cents. And so, really interesting how there can be, but this is also what you'd expect. When there's hype for a set and people want to open it, that will demolish single prices. And that's the kind of, pump the brakes on you wanting to go out and buy cards from the set. Because a lot of these cards that are 10, 15, even just $2-3, they're all going to be like $1. They're all going to be a couple bucks or less because so many people are opening this set, like me, and going to be listing their cards and selling stuff. It'd be great to measure this because I've seen creators and store owners speculate on when the best time to buy cards is after release. Some people say it's like 1 week. Some people say it's 2 weeks. Some people say it's like release weekend. It'd be cool to measure this and actually get an exact number. In my opinion, the longer you wait, the better, generally speaking. I guess there are some cards that people kind of like discover are good. I remember with Dragonstorm, I think Corey Steelcutter was that way, where when it first came out, it wasn't pricey, but then people realized like, whoa, this is good in standard or whatever. And it got pricey quick. So you got to watch out. But Yeah, so that's the tip, is to just wait, hold your horses. I want to buy quite a few of these paradigm cards. I think they're just going to be killer in basically every commander deck I have. But I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait, even though some of them are relatively cheap already, but there's just no rush. They will be there. I'm just so impressed by the number of kind of killer, like auto-include staples there are in these boxes. And so will Wizards be able to do this again? They could, but I don't think they will. I think this is something special. Maybe they'll learn from this and then try to do more of it in the future, but they also might not want to do more of it in the future. Maybe it's a mistake. What's interesting is you can imagine, I mean, the game is only limited by the creativity of the creators. So it's a little foolish to put limits, because I could say something like, well, they could power creep the game into oblivion. Well, I suppose there is a point where things get power crept to oblivion, because you wouldn't want to change the fundamental rules about the game, like having 20 life points or whatever. And so if you make cards that are just too good in that context of having 20 life, then, you could just break the game. So there is some limit to power creep, assuming that they don't change life totals or something like that, right? Go Yu-Gi-Oh on it, right? Or you have 2,000 life points or 8,000 life points or whatever. But, and so the power creep does matter. And so they have something, I think it is appropriate to think of power creep is like a finite resource, right? Where they can just power creep cards into a set, but they can't always do that. They can't keep doing that. And so they want to limit themselves, of course. They want to put just enough power creep, just enough power and interesting things. Ideally, they don't even put in any power. They just put in things that are interesting, but it turns out they're not actually that powerful. You kind of get the idea that it's tricky. It is tricky to be a Wizards of the Coast employee that designs cards and creates mechanics and creates sets. And so yeah, I think they really knocked this one out of the park, at least for pre-sale hype. And you hear other content creators talk about how this has already outsold Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which no surprise, but it's already outsold Lauren. And I'm not sure if it's outsold just like pre-orders or all together, but it's been like an incredibly successful set, incredibly successful product. And so a lot to think about there. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, if you haven't yet, you should subscribe. Think about subscribing, and I will catch y'all in the next video. We'll see you.